America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for about an hour. So we got a couple people joining us from across the country. We got Dano jumping in from Illinois. Thanks for joining.
Yep, thanks.
And Gary's jumping in from Kansas. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the invite.
Always. And got the people viewing out there as well. We simulcast this over on gunchannels.com. Consider this an effort in new media. So anybody that's watching the show, feel part of the conversation and use the text chats out there. We've got links out to people on the Gun Channel side, and we'll see who all joins us tonight. And it is episode number 727. So we've been doing the show for a while, and we've got episode 727, which is an airplane. Anybody ever flown in a 727?
Many times.
I think we all have.
I think so.
Any cool? Oh, you know what? We had a question over on Every Second Matters today, recently, from about airlines. So let's jump over to Every Second Matters real quick. Every Second Matters is an awareness campaign, and we've been doing it for 5 years. Somewhere along the line, Sean of Florida Carry suggested I make a website more useful or more stuff on the website. So we built it up a little bit. And if we look over there, it's got a couple of features. One of them is the main news feed. And somebody asked a question out there, I thought. Here it is. Harry asked, hey, I'm traveling over the holidays on Delta. So I guess this is a while ago, not just the other day. I just saw it the other day. Hey, I'm traveling over the holidays on Delta. Been a while since I checked a firearm. Anyone run into, I don't know what this is, something policy? I believe that stands for check and give protection to. Oh, that's what that policy is. It's more of a huge annoyance than what I would call an issue, but I'm having trouble seeing what safety issues it actually addresses. So I don't know if that's more of a question or like a concern. What do you guys think? Is the concept of checking baggage and alerting the airline to the firearm safe?
Well, I mean, some aspects that are policies of these private, of these companies, it literally change every year and sometimes change within the year. And then the fact that the guidelines and regulations of the TSA also change and are modified on a regular basis. It's going to be difficult to keep up with it, which is why you should do your due diligence in not only contacting the individual airline, which will have its own individual peculiarities, but also find out that particular airport as well as the airport you're going to, what particular restraints or particularities they may have. Because, flying in, leaving, as an example, from Chicago International Airport may be the same or may be very different than flying into LaGuardia.
I'm sure it varies from state to state, too.
Yep.
So is this a good time to talk about traveling with guns? On an airplane, I mean? What's today? Demon Day.
Thursday the 10th.
No, it isn't. Well, it's for you, maybe.
In part
It's Friday for me. Oh, no, it's Thursday for me. It's Wednesday for you guys.
But I guess we can break the rules and talk about that. It's been a while since we talked about flying with guns. Let me go left, right real quick. Cycle just jumped in from Connecticut. You flown with guns before?
All the time. Every time I go to Tulsa.
Gary, you ever flown with guns?
No, I haven't.
Thought about it?
Well, I haven't flown in almost 10 years, so last time I flew, I wasn't into guns, so I haven't had that opportunity yet.
Not opposed to it, though.
No, 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 no. If I was to go somewhere, I'd want to take my guns with me. At least, something.
Dano, flown with guns?
Have not flown in a couple of decades.
And you weren't into guns also back then?
I was flying for work at the time, so it was not permissible, and I was going to a naval installation.
Oh, well, they probably had a problem with that. So, yeah, I've flown with them a couple of times as well. Just, I would say, recreationally, nothing for work or anything. So, I don't know. It's to do is my answer to him is sort of what you guys said. I think that it depends on the airport. I think so. We went to airports that were familiar with guns, and it wasn't any big deal. But I imagine going out east, it'd have been a different story. In fact, when we went out to North Carolina, we didn't carry because we weren't sure what it was going to be like out there, so we just didn't. Is it worth, I guess, all that? Going through the security checks and blah, blah, blah? Or should they just let people carry on the plane?
I think they should let people carry on the plane, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, do we expect people are going to have gunfights on a plane that they all know they're going to die if they shoot a plane?
Well, just like we do today in our cars.
Yeah.
All those concealed carriers to carry in our cars. We're out there shooting each other up all the time.
Or in a bus, right? There's got to be some concealed carry people on a bus once in a while.
I guess the difference is if you shoot a hole in the side of a bus, it doesn't bring the whole bus crashing down. But
Well, quite honestly, shooting a hole in the side of a plane doesn't bring it down unless you accidentally shoot the engine. Although if you shoot a hole in the side of a submarine, you will bring it down.
Now, hold on. You mean because when you shoot a hole inside the plane, it'll create such a vacuum that whoever the lightest person is going to get sucked up there, and then the plane will stay in the air, but that person will be sucked to the ceiling or whatever?
Well, they'll plug the hole.
Right. Okay. We've all seen enough physics.
So, those little babies, they're like perfect.
That's how you got to strap them down.
Have them stick out their little finger.
So, I agree, though. I don't know. Was there a time when people could carry on planes? Was there some time, probably terrorism or something, that stopped that, or was it just never a thing? Does anybody know?
No, I honestly don't know.
I don't know either.
no, me either.
I'm sure before they had magnetometers and pat downs and stuff, probably people did it, but maybe with prop planes and stuff.
I mean, especially if you look at I forget when the year was where police were allowed to carry outside their state as long as they had the card on them that said that they were active duty, and that may not be the right term, but current police, so they could carry not only outside their jurisdiction but outside their state. There's a national federal law that allows that.
I don't know if a police officer can carry on a plane.
Right. I'm just saying it was probably back then that things may have changed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, you're talking about, I just was looking at it the other day. I got it over here on Minuteman. You're talking about the law that said that retired law enforcement could carry wherever, basically? Nationwide.
Retired and active police.
Is it all active police can carry anywhere? It might be. I think so, actually.
Yeah, but if you're not, if you are an ex-cop but you did not retire, it does not apply to you. So it's retired and active only.
But anyway, that came around in like the 70s or something. Let me get here. But it had to be sometime before then that they decided to stop letting people carry on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that it may have gotten slipped in when other big things like the 1968 Gun Control Act came through. That compared to that would have been a small thing compared to what other things that were going on.
Did they have metal detectors and stuff in airports prior to 9/11? Because I don't remember seeing them.
Yes.
Airport? Yeah, remember the movie Airplane? And
Yeah, I took a 90-pound hydraulic valve as check-on luggage from Chicago to Los Angeles in a box that I didn't have a screwdriver to take it apart, and they x-rayed it, and they said, "What is this?" And I said, "It's a hydraulic valve." And they said, "Well, like, what does it go on?" And I said, "A nuclear submarine." And they said, "Okay," and then they let me go. I guess that was normal.
Well, you weren't, unless we're going to club somebody with it. It wasn't a danger to anybody. I think it might have been the Law Enforcement Officers Protection Act of 1986. Could that be?
I suppose it's possible. I thought it was before that, but it could have been. I mean, because there were a lot of states that had interstate agreements where, you know, let's say if you were an officer in Arizona, that you could go to other towns and jurisdictions within Arizona legally, you know, and carry, but maybe not outside of Arizona to, let's say, New Mexico, unless they had an interstate agreement between Arizona and New Mexico. But there was nothing nationally.
Okay, so the 86 is LEOSA. I think that is the one that allows two classes of person: the qualified law enforcement officer and the qualified retired or separated law enforcement officer to carry a concealed firearm in any jurisdiction in the United States, regardless of state laws, with certain exceptions. And I think that's where I think it was interpreted one way or the other, and then they eventually changed their interpretation about taking on the airplanes themselves. Because I think for a while they were like, oh yeah, if you're law enforcement, carry on the plane, who cares? You're right. Badge, or you got this LEOSA thing. But I think at some point they said, oh no, we just want air marshals, right? We don't want a bunch of cops up there also. So I think they at some point had to check them, but
they had severely defunded the air marshal program prior to 9/11. So although they said police couldn't take them on a plane, they didn't really fully fund that program. So it was counterproductive.
Let's see, about halfway through all this mess on Wikipedia, it says, although LEOSA preempts state and local laws, there are two notable exceptions. State laws that permit private persons, blah, 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 1,000-foot, blah, 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 as well as federal regulations prohibiting carriage of firearms onto airplanes. So I guess it doesn't apply because that's a federal law that prohibits firearms on airplanes.
What would be interesting to know is if any of the victims on the planes of 9/11, those three planes, were either a retired or active duty law enforcement.
Or just any hijacked plane, right? Because there's more hijacked planes than just that.
Because that could have severely changed the outcome of 9/11, with just one officer on board with a handgun.
But since we're talking 727, it's episode 727, as we're talking about planes, I'm going to type into, we call it here, internet, I can talk at the same time. How many planes are hijacked? So I'm going to go left to right, and if I can find a list here.
I know it used to be a lot, and as compared to what it is today.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's quite a bit actually in here, but come on, tell me there's not a list somewhere.
Because that used to be a regular thing from third world countries.
I'll have to go with this. So as soon as I can figure out what the date range is, hopefully you guys aren't cheating.
Nope.
Would have been between 1968 and 1972. How many airplanes were hijacked between 1968 and 1972? And that's just because I got an article here that tells me. Cycle cam.
I don't know, 15 or 20?
15, 20. Gary?
88.
Dano?
I'll go with 10.
So you're undercutting cycle cam. The
Yes.
number 130 American airplanes were hijacked.
Wow.
Wow.
More than one hijacking on the same day. Wow. Hijackers or skyjackers wanted flights to communist Cuba, or millions of dollars in ransom, or just an outlet for their rage. I'm guessing that might have been about the time that all that started happening, huh?
A lot of those hijackings, as I remember it from the TV, was, let's say an American airliner goes down to a third world city, delivers his passengers, and then goes from third world city to another third world country, and that's usually where the hijackings would begin.
Yeah.
They would not initiate in the United States.
Well, it did happen, though. I can remember back in the late 60s, there were news stories every once in a while about airplanes that were hijacked going to Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I just counted all of them in the 2000s. So we'll go back through the other way. Dano, how many in all of the 2000s worldwide?
Now that you blew me out of the water, it's like now I have no confidence in my answer.
Nobody would. I'm catching anybody off guard. I'm just playing with the show.
I'll go 120.
Wow. Yeah, Gizzard.
5.
10 years. 10 years. So 5, and Dano said some 100 something. Cycle?
10.
I think cycle, because it was 17 worldwide. 17.
See.
So we really cut down on them.
When I said there used to be a lot and now there's significantly less, at least give me partial credit.
2010s aren't quite over, but there's only 8. So yeah, you're definitely getting 100% credit there. It's definitely cut down, and that's because they make you take your shoes off and stuff, right? So now the rest doesn't happen.
As well as things like the raid on Entebbe, the way the Israelis deal with hostages. You know, the way the world treats airplane, hostage takings over has changed significantly since the 60s, and they've gotten much better at it.
Look at this. So we're in here talking about airplanes. I put a big picture of an airplane on the cover or whatever. Who do you think shows up?
Bob?
D.B. Cooper.
D.B. Cooper.
So OG gun channels out there. If you want to jump in, grab a link on the gun channel side. But good to see you out there. We've had a couple of people. Ballistic was in the other day. We see Bob out there. He's OG GC. And then, who the hell else was here the other day? I've been around for a while. Stone Guy. So,
Stone Guy.
Yeah, I forgot what chat that was. Some chat I did on gun websites, I think. All right, so what was I going to ask about the airplanes? Any other airplane stories? Airplane topics? They change the laws. They give our gun channels permits so we can carry wherever we want. What gun are you carrying on the plane?
Just my everyday carry.
You're not changing it up for an airplane?
No.
Oh, come on. So
it's a 9mm. It's that late, little chance of hurting anybody.
Why don't you suck up to the host a little more?
One of them little pillows you get on an airplane in front of them, and boom, like nothing happens to them.
No, that's the silencer.
Effectively a bulletproof.
That's for the snoring guy next to me.
Now, G-Webs, he's like feeding you candy with that answer.
Hey, it's true. It's an effective round for inside an airplane. I never thought about it. So, Gary, what are you carrying for your airplane?
I'm gonna carry my little Glock 42 because those seats are so tiny. You don't have room for a big gun on your hip.
Dano?
I think something reasonable like a Glock 18.
Here you go. Reasonable. I'm gonna say something cooler, like some little H&K MP5K, a little tiny H&K 9mm with some sort of pre-fragmented glaciers in there. What they made for planes.
Yeah, but I got barrel rise like crazy.
Yeah, but 3-round burst and a little suppressed little mini sub gun, because figure somebody's causing ruckus on a plane, you need to take it out.
I can cut the plane in half in one magazine.
No, control burst or whatever.
No, with my Glock 18, the muzzle will rise to the point where it goes from level to right over my head.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Unless you're putting it in some kind of a stock. I mean, they make little stocks for it and stuff. Or you can get little vert grips. It's full auto. If you've got a permit to carry on a plane, they let you carry full auto. You can put a little vert grip on it. Let's see. So Guy is saying, oh, who's saying this? Seven is saying, what other awesome lever guns in 357 should I consider? Oh, he's looking for brands of 357.
What brands of lever action in 357?
I keep getting on the top chat over there, so I don't know if I'm missing stuff.
Yeah, he was looking at Henry, but I think he's wanting to know what else is out there besides Henry.
Like Uberti and Winchester?
Winchester doesn't make a 357, do they?
I don't think so.
What's the one the good guy with the gun bought?
He bought something from South America also, so whatever.
Yeah.
Rossi.
So there's the other guy that make the not New Birdie, the other one. Shit. I think I own one actually. Wait a minute.
Rossi?
Yeah, I mean you could always get a Henry.
Well, Henry's made in what, New Hampshire or New Jersey? Taylor makes a Taylor and Company makes a Takedown 1892 for $1,200.
Wow.
Henry makes a Big Boy. Cimarron makes a lever action for $1,000. Navy Arms looks like they make a Winchester looking thing.
Yeah. Cimarron is overseas. I forget what country, but it's not USA.
Italy, I believe. Italia. Chiappa makes 357, a 16-inch. That looks Winchester-y.
Chestery.
Well, side gate. That top eject. So, I don't know. There's definitely your Marlin people who don't like.
Rossi makes a fairly inexpensive one. That's the one I was trying to think of.
Well, when I think of the difference between the Winchester and the Marlin, I think of primarily the stock difference.
Oh no, it's the ejection and being able to put a scope.
Right. Well, I just mean from the outside, looking at the outside end, because one has that quasi pistol holding on portion, the other one doesn't.
Yeah, how it kind of almost makes a pistol grip to their shot stock shape. Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. There's a bunch of stuff to think about. I don't know about Chiappa. Chiappa makes decent stuff. I think Chiappa over South America. I've had hit or miss with South America stuff. Sometimes it's decent, sometimes it ain't. So I guess if you're going to go to a gun shop, a local shop, and fiddle with it, and you're satisfied with it. 357s, though, I know with 22s it's an issue, but those South American ones kept putting that stupid safety on the back of where the hammer goes. And I can't stand that.
So they have a modified Hillary hole.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, let's, you know what? Browning didn't know what he wanted, so why don't we put a little stupid safety here? Yeah. So I don't know if 357s have that. I think they do that as a kid's thing.
Yeah. Instead of doing what Smith did, they just put it in a different spot. Smith & Wesson, that is.
All right, well, we're not getting much feedback on that, so...
Yeah, I'm not even looking today.
Henry's good. Henry's are quite a bit heavier, so, like, physically weigh more, but of course that's because it's stronger and it's got more metal in there. Dano, you listened to the Kevin thing? So we had Kevin Dixie on the Gun Websites channel there for 2 hours. It was pretty awesome. And Kevin blew me away at the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So he had challenged the people that were there to be at a soapbox to give them the mic and let them go. And that's what we tried to do over there. And I'm not sure how it went. I guess there was some issues with the mic or something, or with the thing cutting out every once in a while. So I don't know if people left because of that or if there was some kind of issue with the feed. But anyway, how did it go? As the audience side, was it worth watching? Was it effective for Kevin?
I kind of got the message, so to speak, but I was interested in his presentation and so forth. I think the discussion itself went well. The only issue is the technical aspect, which you won't know until it regurgitates itself and determines what parts of the audio it saved and what part it didn't.
Yeah, good point. Well, hopefully it wasn't too distracting, but I encourage people to check it out. I think Kevin's doing what needs to be done. He's doing stuff in real life. in communities he's familiar with. And then I was telling him, it's not like he's unique. There's all kinds of people doing that, but he's taking it a step further and sharing that, and then being willing to share the tips and tricks and all the stuff we're interested in sharing and encouraging people, and making it known how to do this stuff, because it's not that difficult. And the reason I'm bringing it up is to encourage people to go watch or listen to that. It's 2 hours, totally worth it. Kevin often gets just a moment or two, like on a panel or whatever, and this was an opportunity for him to really elaborate on his story and the evolution of his projects, which are freaking worthy. They're awesome. And it turns out he's doing that project on Memorial Day weekend in St. Louis area, where he's inviting a bunch of 2A media to show up and learn their craft, hone their craft, collaborate, and work together. And I didn't know he was doing that. I'm so glad we ended up ending on that. And I'm looking forward to encouraging people to show up to that. I hope to get to it, and then see what happens with that, because I think that's taken the AmCon thing that we had for the Gun Rights Policy Conference to the next level. A 3-day event and getting people familiar with firearms and then instructing. That's just taking it above and beyond. It's awesome. So I don't know if you know that. Hopefully that all came through clear, because that was, I like his story. Hearing the whole thing I found interesting and inspiring, but then that last part, like I say, out of nowhere, it blew my mind. I'm glad that he's doing something like that.
Right. With the repeats, I think the audience is able to get it all together. It might be in pieces. And also the location of that is just outside of Farmington. So it's southwest of St. Louis, out in the sticks, so to speak. And because it's at the same location that I was at. And actually, if you want to see what I look like, unbeknownst to me, as I was fishing around during the interview, my class picture, which was a very small class, is an Evolve Rifle 2 on his website. Picture of me, my classmates, and my instructor. So if you want to know the man behind the mystery, check me out.
All right. So you've been to the place. As far as hotels, opportunities for like whatever they call what do they call that when you rent like a whole house, like Marco and them did in Chacho?
Right. It is literally in the sticks. You're going to want to, if you want to rent either a house or a group of rooms, you're going to want to do it, like as an example, Farmington or just outside one of those cities. You're not going to want to. There is nowhere to do it right at or near the farm.
And then what kind of time we talking? Half an hour away, an hour away, 10 minutes away?
No, I would say just 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh, okay. So that's doable. So we can definitely find some place that's nearby, like say get a block of rooms or a big place and make a thing of it.
Right.
Cool.
And it is, really a cool experience, after the shoot, the experience that I had was not necessarily planned. It just, the way things kind of unfolded, because it was the first time that Kevin had taught, a class at that site and was trying, different parts of the farm to try to hold the class. And afterwards, they just so happened to be having a pig roast for the local community out there that had nothing to do with the training class. But we were invited to come over just and enjoy it with it as part of the community. And it was really a fantastic time, not only to get out there and to meet new people, but also, Kevin will take any opportunity, and I certainly enjoyed it. And I was looking forward to the possibility of it, because I had met Kevin before I had ever gone and trained with him, to sit down and talk with them about, things like race relations and gun rights and, issues, in what we call the hood. I was that I'm from the outside looking in. I don't truly. So I see it through that viewpoint. I don't see it through his viewpoint. So since I like to think I have a semi-open mind, it's okay in that type of atmosphere, or at least you feel okay, asking those questions without having to worry about, well, how about if I don't phrase it right? Is he going to take offense to it? You don't have that pretense, as well as vice versa. Because there was another black gentleman that was in the class, and there was a white girl, but we all got to ask questions of each other. Like they couldn't believe it that the first time I ever physically saw a black person, and I'm 57 years old, was at college, and he was my roommate. That literally, living in a I'm getting off topic, but it has to do with Kevin Dixie and his thing, but that we're literally all coming from totally different situations, and the only thing that required us to have a human conversation was an open mind and the openness to reason and logic, and that's it.
And the thing that brought you all together, of course.
Right.
So then, what, you went to college before you went to the Army?
Excuse me?
You went to college before you went to the Army?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you went a couple of different directions there. And I'm trying to read the chat, so I'm going to quit trying to do that. Dano grew up outside of Chicago, correct?
Right. I grew up in the lily white suburbs of Chicago, which is what the Chicago Tribune referred to them as. And they absolutely were that. They weren't just like in passing lily white. No, they were starched white, lily white suburbs. I mean, the workmen, like if you had somebody come to your house to work on your furnace, it was some white guy. I mean, there were no exceptions that I ever knew growing up as a child of the 60s and as a young teenager and older teenager of the 70s. There were no exceptions.
Pretty much true of me too, and I grew up in a rural area, but I never actually personally met any black people till I went to college.
Mm-hmm. And for today's younger people, that says like, well, how is that possible? That's not possible. And it was because whether it was intentional or unintentional, this country has been very segregated on purpose or otherwise for a long, long time.
Yeah, those were neighborhoods. I don't know if that was like somebody intentionally. There's no fences or nothing.
Well, no, but it is, and this is a slightly separate subject, but there is a preference for how's in-group preference, excuse me, is the phrase I'm looking for, and that is a natural thing. And whether it was your neighborhood or your town, the only difference was the scale.
Well, and it's all life experience. I knew people of all different colors and stuff. I don't know, since I was a kid in Scouts, so I don't know. School, I don't know. I didn't have the same experience, I guess, but I don't know.
Yeah, but it was also, things were changing as time went forward. It didn't just change overnight from like it is today to what it was like back, in the 60s and 70s. It was a series of slow change. In some areas changed faster than others, even though they may have only been 5 miles apart. But when you're a young person, 5 miles is your world.
Well, I don't know. That's what happens when we have a free-form show. It gets off in directions. I think we had sort of left off with what gun we're going to carry on the plane or whatever. Why don't we point the plane in a direction? We've been doing that as a theme lately. So this time we got this 727 Daily Gun Show plane. We'll, I guess, downgrade it to a 727. And does anybody offhand know what kind of range we got on a 727?
I thought they were always regional planes rather than coastal planes.
No, I think you can go most of the way across the country on a 27.
A 7 is a mid-sized narrow-body 3-engine jet aircraft by Boeing, early 1960s to 1984. It can carry 149 to 189 passengers. It can fly 2,700 nautical miles. It's 5,000
Yeah, there you go.
Right, because it's 3,000 miles from coast to coast.
nautical
So
miles.
you can go up and down the good coast, or you can go from the bad coast to the good coast.
I'm going to go real to miles, right? So we don't have to go to.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I have no
nautical
idea
mile
what
is-
a nautical mile is to an actual land mile.
A nautical mile is longer.
No, it's the other way around. So
Oh, it is? I thought a nautical mile was like 1.18 regular miles.
yeah, it is. You're right. So whatever
So
it
a
is.
nautical mile is longer.
So a nautical mile is, or whatever it is, it's 3,000 miles. So
Yeah.
airport sound real fancy. They got their own miles, but in real life, it's 3,000 miles. So yeah, that's basically the country, right? So we can refuel because we don't have to worry about money.
Right.
But, so that gives us 3,000 miles range. Where are we taking this plane? It's like 3,000 miles from the last person we pick up, right? So we'll refuel.
How far is it? Like, how far is it from like California to Hawaii?
That,
I don't know.
no, let's
It's
find out.
not no 3,000 miles.
I don't know what it is. That's why I posed the question.
Yeah, got to be like 1,200 maybe,
Okay.
if that.
So that's doable because I think that in combination with a U.S. base like the Pacific Northwest, I think would be an excellent place.
It's reaching. It's 2,500 miles to Hawaii. So
Really? Oh my God, I didn't think it was that far.
I don't know. We might have to strategically place the Gun Channel's aircraft carrier out there. I don't know if you can land an aircraft carrier or a 727, but give it a shot.
No, we just used. Oh yeah, you can't use a refueling plane on a 727. Oh well.
All right. So
See now, if they let you bring gas on board, you could just bring your own gas and refuel while you're driving.
See, I don't think you got enough runway on an aircraft carrier to land a 727.
what we'll do is
Yeah.
we'll run the aircraft carrier so it gets going really fast, and then we land on it when it's hauling ass. See, got to think. It's physics. So we can easily retrofit. We don't need no 189 people on there, so we need a lot of guns. But you know, what I mean, we could put extra gas on there and get to Hawaii. It sounds like. So Dano's got Hawaii. Cycle, you've been all kinds of places. 3,000 mile range. Where are we going?
Boy, where would I go?
What are we even gonna do?
I might go to Alaska.
That sounds like we got something to do in Alaska.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool
Well-
state. I've never been there.
But the Pacific Northwest, you don't freeze to death. And I'm a little sensitive to the cold, being that I'm in a northern state right now. It's freezing.
Alaska when
I was
it's
going to
nice.
say most people don't freeze to death in Alaska either. I don't hear a lot of news about that.
No, we go up there, grab a bunch of gold nuggets, wrestle some grizzly bears, eat a caribou or whatever. Be a good time. All kinds of places to go shooting.
And that's true, but that's also why most of the Alaskan population is within like 100, 200 miles of the coast.
Well, that's fine, but we got an airplane, so we can go up there and go on expeditions from whatever the.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where you're going to land. Let's face it, they're not going to put the airport out in the boonies.
Yeah. Is it Fairbanks that is the one town that is out in the boonies?
No, Arrow is out in the middle of nowhere.
I always get confused in Alaska, the semi-large town that actually is a long ways from the coast.
Well, there's only Juneau and Fairbanks and anything else.
Juneau.
All right, so then Gary, where are we going?
Well, I haven't been to Hawaii or Alaska either one. They both sound good, but not real sure. You know, if we got a plane, we need to leave the country, definitely.
Because we got Hawaii for the wintertime and Alaska for the summertime.
I guess there's always, Puerto Rico or something like that. I don't know.
At least that's going. No, we got what the hell's his name? Jamaica?
Oh, yeah.
Is it Albert? Something with an A.
Haven't been there either. Let's go.
No, I go to the Caribbean every year. I'm not doing that. If I had a cool plane and I could take it anywhere I want to go, I wouldn't go anywhere down that way.
Just because you go there already, or because there's nothing?
Yeah, because I do it. I mean, I've been down to I'm I don't remember what they call it, but I'm doing the farther south Caribbean this year in March. Normally I do the Saints, St. Thomas, St. Martin, that kind of stuff. I've never been to Bermuda.
How much time you spend down there each year?
Oh, it's 6-7 days.
Oh, okay.
I usually, cruise around down there, go to different places.
Aruba, Jamaica.
But this time
do you
it's like
fly to Miami and then go out from there, or?
Yeah. Well, Miami or Port Canaveral. No, this time I think we're going from. No, I think we're still flying down to Florida because I'm picking up the plane here right next door. You can go from up here. You can also go from Jersey, Boston, or New York. But then you waste a lot of time just cruising down the coast.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the plane on a different type of adventure. We're going to Al Gore it and just drive it around so we can pick people up and use it as a party plane. That seems like a pretty big plane to fart around on because there's not that many people in gun channels. So we'll probably pick up some extras once we got a plane to fart around on. But that way we could, if we've got an event we want to go to, use it to round everybody up and then use it as the hotel. Because I would imagine in something like Vegas, we just stay on the wherever they park the airplanes, right? And then use it as a apartment hotel room.
There's a hotel not far from the airport there in Vegas.
Well, yeah,
all the hotels, if you go to Laughlin, most of the hotels are not far from there.
Yeah, they're all right next to the airport. In Vegas, the airport's right next to everything.
That's one of the coolest parts about going to Vegas.
What would I do to my phone here?
It used to be when they still had the bright light coming out of the Luxor. That was really cool to fly around and see that.
Yeah, I think they turn it on at times now.
Why'd they turn it off?
They used to have it on 24/7. Well, not 24/7. They had it on every night. I think it just cost a shit ton of money.
Oh. I mean, just on that same theme, that's something that I think is so cool that they ought to do more often than they do it, and that's when they put up the 2 lights for the Twin Towers.
Oh, well, it says on the thing that they opened in 92. It's been that long. And then they turn it on with a dimmer, so it's designed to go on at dusk. I guess it does go on every night.
Huh.
Yeah. I was thinking of the Twin Towers in New York and the lights they have on there.
Oh, well, I'm sure they got them on all the time.
I don't think they're regularly on.
Yeah,
but even
I watched
if it was just, twice a month on one night, on 2 different days a month.
Holy moly. So I just went over here to the internet. At 42.3 billion candela, the Luxor Skybeam is the strongest beam of light in the world. Using curved mirrors to collect the light from 39 xenon lamps and focuses them on one intense narrow beam. On a clear night, it's visible 279 regular old non-nautical miles by aircraft cruising at altitude over Los Angeles.
So aren't they worried it's going to attract small planes like moths?
As I challenged that claim because regular old airplanes can't get 270 miles above the Earth without running out of oxygen.
Flat Earth. So
they're talking distance to the horizon. They're not talking how high up they are.
39 lamps, 7,000 watts each, cost $1,200 a piece. At full power, the system costs how much to operate? Cycle. How much per hour to run that?
How much did you say? How many watts was it?
39 lamps, 7,000 watts.
So 40 times 70 would be 28,000 watts, and it was about 35 cents a kilowatt hour. So 35 times 25 cents would be, I don't know, to run for an hour would probably be around like 40 or 50 bucks.
Gary, what do you got? How much per hour?
Oh, about 7,000.
$1,000 an hour?
Yeah.
Now we're talking to a guy that works at an electrical generation
Yeah, but we have nothing
Ability.
to do with the billing. We just generate our own.
Yeah, but you understand the mathematics.
Dano, you got quite a range there. 50 to, what was it? How many thousand?
7,000.
$50 to
Similar.
7,000. Well, why don't we go for 5,000?
5,000. All right. So we got any guesses out there? Is anybody even paying attention?
See, now you guys just, my phone crashed earlier today, and I'm restoring my phone while I'm talking to you guys, and now you just reminded me that I don't have a calculator app back on here again.
So
Good, this is good.
In other words, you use a fancier calculator than the standard one that comes on.
No, it didn't. When the phone reloaded itself and stuff, it didn't bring any of that shit back. It didn't remember what my setup was. I have to do it all myself.
As we're chatting here, I'm getting a bunch of texts from one of the guys that started gun websites back in the day with us, and he was sending me a bunch of pictures of his New Zealand trip. So I think we'd have to jump to Hawaii and then over. But yeah, that was something that he lucked into. His friend got divorced after they had bought the tickets, so he got to go along for nothing. Pretty nice.
Oh, jeez.
So the answer.
That is the one place that I had a chance to go when I was younger. I had a chance to do a 2-week motorcycle tour, and I was too much of a workaholic and didn't think I could take the time off, and I've kicked myself ever since.
When you look at the scenery, whether you like the movie or not, of like the Harry Potters, that's where all the scenery comes from.
Harry Potter's, you mean Hobbit? Harry Potter's like England, old England and shit.
Well, Harry Potter's all over the place. It's Ireland and England, yeah.
But I think you mean the Hobbit, right? The big.
Or maybe I'm thinking of like the one with Sauron or.
Lord of
the Hobbit, yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lord of the Rings. That's it.
So we've got some answers finally. Seven Wonders is saying $2,700 an hour. Woods is cheating with Price is Right dollar rule. Ozzy is saying 1,200, and Dead Horse said 35. So the answer, according to the internet, which is always right, $51 an hour to operate.
Oh, was I close or what?
Right.
Oh man, psycho.
That's because I just multiplied it out.
Without having a calculator. So with
Yeah, well, I mean, I had to round it because I rounded 39 to 40, and I figured, 40 times 7 was 280,000 kilowatt hours, and then it's about 35 cents a kilowatt hour.
I was figuring in the cost of the hotel too, though.
Well, yeah, that explains it.
You have to have the hotel to have the light.
Yeah, you want fries with that?
So
I'll take a pair of legs with that.
So the beam has been operated reliably since it's first enabled in October of 1993, which is kind of neat. I don't remember if I was there for that, but I certainly remember it being cool as hell when it happened.
Now, you say enabled like it's a Stargate.
Yeah, well, it's the largest beam of light in the world.
They turned it on.
They get
didn't enable it.
They got the largest beam of light in the world. They get some recognition. It's 50 feet below the building, serviced by a staff of 2. The room is about 50 feet below the top of the building. Okay. Serviced by a staff of 2 workers during the day. The room's temperature is 300 degrees while the lights are operating. Since 2008, only half the lamps are lit, and the cost of energy saving energy. So since 2008, they only put half the lights on.
Just because it's the brightest star on the face of the earth doesn't mean it's like the most amazing thing. When I think of like not that far away is this crazy thing called Hoover Dam, which is freaking amazing.
Oh, come on. You're not giving them credit for having the largest beam of light, just shining into the sky for no fucking reason other than
No, there's a reason. It's to make money.
Yeah, exactly. And have you been?
It literally says out to the stars, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Oh, it does. It's awesome.
Spend your money here. Spend your money here.
Have you been to Luxor, yes or no? Cycle camp?
Oh, yeah.
And Gary?
I've been in the casino. I never actually stayed there.
That's fine. Dano?
Well, you would say that question because you know the answer, because I've never been to Vegas.
Oh, keep track of where the hell everybody's been, and I'm glad to know that other people have been there now.
Well, it's nice to know that you pay attention to anything that we actually discuss.
Oh, come on. The low people? No. So, of the people that have been there, and I never stayed there either. I think it was too expensive to stay there. But
you didn't ask if I stayed there, yeah.
But compared to the other casinos, did you enjoy, or do you enjoy Luxor?
Oh, it's very nice. Yeah.
Gary?
I thought the inside of it was really cool because I was taking a look up above and how the elevators kind of ran sideways and, at weird angles and stuff like that. And I was wondering just how they designed all that stuff. So you spent a lot of time just looking up.
Seriously.
Yeah, and if you want to look at hot-looking women, the Greeks and the Egyptians really know how to drape a body.
All right, so it is definitely my favorite thing in Vegas. It is awesome, and like Gary said, you can just hang out looking at it. It costs nothing to go in there and hang out and experience it. It is just an amazing building to be in, and you can just go in there. I don't think you can go up to the rooms. I've never been up there, so I'm guessing you can't just go up there. But you go in the middle, and you can get on rides and stuff in the middle. So it's everything Vegas is. It's got the gambling. It's kind of medium fancy, right, as far as casinos go. So, it's not like the cheapest thing on the strip. So it's not like a bunch of yahoos and stuff in there. And it's not a bunch of kids, although it's kind of kid friendly as well. And there's nice dressed people. I don't know about eating there. I've never ate there. But the casino is freaking neat. I really agree. The Egyptian theme is awesome. And everything. The chips are cool. The tables look cool. They did it well. Then you go into the middle of the whole thing, which is all open. I don't know how to explain it. It's a pyramid, and then the rooms are up the walls of the pyramid. The middle is just a giant open pyramid shape, right? And in the middle, there's all these rides, and they're freaking wild. Like, it's the kind of rides you go in, and there's like 20 people sitting in these chairs, and it shakes you all around. You go up and down with the movie, or it makes you get vertigo and stuff. They're like interactive rides or whatever those things are called. And from what I remember, it was like $5 or $10 to do all that stuff. It wasn't very expensive. So I've gone there multiple times with kids and older people and friends, just people my own age to have fun. And I just think it's everything Vegas, all wrapped up into a cool ass pyramid with the largest light in the world sticking out the roof for no reason.
Now, have you ever been up into the Stratosphere Tower?
No, never, because it costs money, right?
Not if you're staying there, it doesn't.
Oh, okay, no. I've only ever looked. I've been at the bottom and looked up at it, and
if there's a restaurant up there too, you can go up there and check out the restaurant.
The most awesome view of Vegas from up there. It is just breathtaking.
So apparently somebody has stayed there. So since it's not the most expensive but not the cheapest, what should one expect if you wanted a room at this place?
Stratosphere or Luxor?
I thought we were all talking about the same place, but apparently not.
Well, Gary just talked about the Stratosphere, which is the needle, basically.
Well, let's talk about the one with the big light.
Because it's clear off at the end of the strip, and really not too many people want to stay there because it's close to downtown. So.
Yeah, so when you look at Vegas on a map, the Luxor is down at the south end of the strip, they call it, and that's where the airport is. So at the end of the airport, there's this giant black pyramid with a light sticking out the roof. And then if you stood at the pyramid and looked north, you'd see the Stratosphere, which is a big pyramid or a big needle-looking thing with a restaurant at the top.
Yeah, it's basically the other end of the strip. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of they anchor the two ends of the strip with like physical buildings that are unique. So I've never stayed in the pyramid. Did you say you stayed in there, Gary?
No, I didn't. Not the pyramid. No. I stayed in the Stratosphere.
Have you stayed in the pyramid?
What's the Stratosphere run?
It's medium, right?
What's that? Stratosphere?
It's like medium. It's not the cheapest, but it's certainly not the most expensive.
No, it's on the lower end, but it's still nice.
I mean, you're talking to a Motel 6 guy, so what does medium mean?
If you get a package, I went through Priceline. I think it was around $100 a night.
And that's staying up in that donut at the top of the thing?
No, you stay in there's a tower off to the side, and then there's rooms that go up so far, and then the tower goes way up above the hotel itself. So
there's no hotel rooms up in the tower?
No, there's a restaurant up there and stuff like that, but there's no rooms up there.
So Ashley's saying in the YouTube side, what's the place that does the jousting? So if you're in Vegas and you're at the strip,
it's Excalibur.
Yeah, it's Excalibur. It's at the where we're talking the strip goes north and south. The airport's at the south end. That's where the pyramid is. That's the Luxor. And the big intersection is really, was it Tropicana and Las Vegas Boulevard? So Las Vegas Boulevard is the strip, and that's the where you see that Welcome to Vegas sign and that kind of stuff. So the pyramid is right on Las Vegas Boulevard, and then you get to that main intersection is the New York, which looks like a little skyscraper of New York, or sky scene. What's it called? Scene.
MGM Grand's there, isn't it?
Across the street.
Yeah, the MGM is on the other side, and that looks like a giant lion. And then you've got the castle, Excalibur, and then hell is the other one. The other one's bland. Not ballets.
Have you guys actually seen jousting?
So
Yeah.
in life, or are you talking about it, Excalibur?
Well, I'm talking about jousting where there's two guys on horses who are dressed up in period armor who are running at each other.
I've never been to Excalibur. I've never been there, but I've only done that kind of stuff at Renaissance fairs, and I don't know if they're the same or not.
Right.
Yeah, we've done that.
There's a Renaissance place that's right off of Interstate 90 outside of Chicago that I don't know if they're still in business or not, but they had actual jousting entertainment, indoors, and it was actually quite fascinating to see. And they were not like, just trotting towards one another. They were going full speed, and on two different occasions they broke the lances.
But they use blunted lances.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
They don't use the real
intention
stuff.
is to repeat the performance, not to end it.
Yeah.
Well, some of them, I guess what I'm saying is, I'm no expert on this, but some of them, they're actually competing, right? And they're really doing it. And then at the end of the season or this whatever, like there's a winner, they have some actual competition, where the other one are like dinner parties, or not dinner parties, but like dinner events, like a stage show. And it's like choreographed, like wrestling versus competitive wrestling.
Right. And in Excalibur, when you do it in Excalibur, each section is roots for a different guy. So based on which section you sit in, that's the guy you root for.
That sounds very similar to the Renaissance that I was at. There were 4 riders in 4 sections.
We got the Black Knight. We actually thought he was cooler than the guy.
There was a black, a red, a yellow, and I can't remember what the other color was.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there was some sort of I want to say I don't know if it was 5% off or what it was. There was some sort of for the winning section, they actually got a prize as a bonus to help get the crowd into the actual competition of it.
Yeah, they usually give you something like a mug or something. I mean, I have an Excalibur beer stein.
Now, this was literally like 1990, 1991 when I was there, so it was a long time ago.
Oh yeah, 90s were a lot different. Vegas, that was an interesting Vegas. Now it's a total different.
No, I figured that's practically 30 years ago.
It's kind of gone from, well, it went into like amusement town, and now it's kind of coming out of that, but it hasn't fled from it. I don't know if that makes sense.
How do you separate amusement from entertainment, or would you say they're the same thing?
I mean, there was nothing but rides and kids everywhere. Vegas was weird for a few years there, where it was like all meant for kids, like that M&M factory, and it was just kids everywhere. It was like,
they were trying to make it the Walt Disney of gambling.
I really don't know, because when we were in a unique place here, 'cause for a long time we could just go up there for like $75, so we could go up there on a whim on an airplane and spend some hours and come back. And if we were there a long time, we stayed there a long time. If we went for a little while. So anyway, we go up there.
Believe it or not, though, that's actually true. For a short period of time, about 15 years or so, Vegas tried to put together a more family-friendly image.
Yeah,
and they tried to clean up the streets and stuff, and it didn't work out so good. But they're back to the way they used to be. But for quite a while, they went really easy on the really crude stuff, especially the outdoor displays.
Yeah, because what is it like? Again, I've never been there. What, like a half hour outside of town is where the legal brothels are?
Well, it's
Something
a
like
lot
that?
further than that.
I have no idea. That's a different county, and that's
Yeah,
counties.
it's a different county.
Counties out here are bigger than states back east, so it's different out here. But I don't even know. You have to go to like northern Nevada for that stuff, I think.
Because don't they put like pamphlets for that in all the rooms?
No, not at all. They have little stripper things that you're talking about. Like when you're walking down the street, they'll give you these little business card looking size things with strippers on them.
Uh-huh.
But that's like stripper stuff, I think. I don't know, escorts.
Again, since I've never been and I've only heard stories, and I don't know what I probably have confused different people's stories with different things over the years.
Yeah, the movies get thrown in there. Who knows? But Pink said it was $120 for Luxor. That is at 20. I'm thinking I mean, that can't be $20 a night. There's no way.
Yeah, there aren't too many
bargain.
hotels in Vegas you can't get into for under $100 a day if you get a package, and a lot of them are a lot cheaper.
The thing is,
But if you really want a cheap one, you got to go a block off. You got to go a block or two off of the main drag.
if you buy the packages and you get the cheaper prices, oftentimes you get rooms that are opposite the strip and stuff like that, so you don't have a great view.
I never look at nothing when I'm in the hotel anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, but if you're in a beautiful hotel, does it really matter if you're looking at the parking lot when in your room?
No, because you leave your room. You don't spend much time in your room.
Right. I mean, you're in the restaurants, you're in either doing the gambling or at other, things of entertainment. You're only in your room, for short periods.
I mean,
Yeah, it's just like Tulsa, really. I mean, you're there to eat, sleep, and shit, right? I mean, that's pretty much it.
you can either walk the strip or there's public transport. You can get like a bus pass for like $5, ride all day on the buses up and down the strip. They stop it at practically every other place.
Currently, if one were to walk the strip from one end to the other, at least the main hotels are, how far would you say from beginning to end the walk would be in miles?
It's not that far, I don't think.
Well, all I know is I went with my mom, and she was in a wheelchair at the time, and I pushed that wheelchair to all these different hotels and stuff. I ate like a pig, and I lost 10 pounds. So it's between the heat and the distance, and we were staying right across the street from Caesars.
It's 4.2 miles.
Yeah, it's 4.2. But trying to figure out, I think they're talking the main strip. So Vegas is the main strip where the big hotels are. That's the Las Vegas Boulevard. It goes north and south. There's the old Vegas, the original Vegas was a street, Frontier Street, I guess. So went east and west, and it's kind of north of the big strip, and that's where that stratosphere, the needle, kind of divides the old strip. Is everything south of there, and then there's a big gap on nothing. There's like that pawn shop that's on TV. There's like a couple of blocks of nothing, just little warehouse doors and stuff. And then the old strip starts up. And it's a whole thing. There's people that go to Vegas and will exclusively stay in the north part of Vegas. Don't even like the big part of Vegas.
Yeah, Fremont Street.
Fremont, thanks.
That's where the Fremont Street experience is, with all the lights and twinkly stuff and all that. Very nice. And you can do a little bit better on the slots out there.
Are both areas pedestrian friendly as far as, there's sidewalks to walk from place to place?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anymore, they're elevated to go over the top of the cross streets, too. It didn't used to be that way, but they've got ramps now. You can pretty much walk all the way.
Well, and that's something that if you're going, I would dig in, because there are places where there's like big gaps where there's no hotel, and you can probably see something current that'll tell you where to bother walking and where to get on one of them shuttles or whatever. When to see something like that, the Fremont Street, like you're saying, that's worth seeing at night. You can see it.
Yeah, it's better at night. Yeah. Yeah, we get bus passes when we get out there. You get like a 72-hour bus pass, and then you can ride the buses or you can ride the tram that goes behind the hotels. The only problem with the tram is they take you way in back of the hotels, so it's a bit of a hike if you're trying to get back to the main street after that.
Well, but that's the whole thing about Vegas. Since we're talking Vegas, just having fun in Vegas is if you're walking around. So if you're there with people that want to go see the different casinos and stuff, they all got a different flavor and a different experience. And different people are there. And you got the buffets, right? So that's what's cool about Vegas. You end up doing walking because you can eat the shit out of the buffets.
Well, my mom and I, we played a game where we rated the uniforms on the girls that bring the drinks, which ones were good, that showed off everybody's body styles the best. And that was a good one. And my daughter plays a great game. She takes, how the guys are on the street passing out the cards with the the gals to give you the lap dances and all that stuff. She tries to collect one with each of her friends' names on it, and she brings them back and gives them to them.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we've collected.
I think it's hilarious.
We've collected the cards. Like, there's so many of them. One time, I don't remember, when we were younger, and it was this thing to do. Still, like, I think I had a stack that was probably 3 or 4 decks of regular cards, and I'm not even kidding. Like, all of those were different. Like, just everybody that was handing out cards had 6 or 8 different girls on them. It's crazy. And we didn't even bother looking at phone numbers. I'm sure the phone numbers had to be similar, but I don't know if that's a thing so much anymore. But again, I haven't walked down the strip in forever. I don't even remember last time I walked down the strip. Probably with my parents or something, going to one of the buffets. And that would have been on a Sunday morning, so it wasn't quite the same as busy night. We got Pink jumped in here. From what I remember, though, you guys don't really go down and fart around on the strip too much. Do you?
I mean, we went to go eat at a couple of the restaurants and stuff inside the hotels.
Who the hell used to have? Somebody used to do a meet and greet for YouTube people, and Joe would go. I don't know if I think that was years before you guys started going, but they would do it at the bars out on the strip. I always thought that was just super annoying. It was fine for people that were walking, I guess, but everybody that had to drive, had to go trying to find a parking spot behind Treasure Island or whatever the hell it was. So for us, it was easier to just drop Joe off, and then he'd go do the event and then pick him up.
Yeah, that's where Uber is helpful on that.
Yeah, that kind of changed everything, I think, because taxis were a pain in the butt and expensive, and now you got that Uber. Seems like you guys just whip all around now. I don't know what you think about it.
That's how we go back and forth to SHOT Show all the time.
You guys do the steak and egg breakfast over at Barbary Coast?
Barbary Coast?
Yeah, Barbary Coast is a little hole in the wall. It's on the opposite side from Caesars, and it's before you get to the Flamingo. It's one of the side streets. And on one of the side streets, there's a small casino called Barbary Coast, and they have a small restaurant in the back, and they used to do steak and eggs for $7. Really good deal.
I don't think it's called Barbary Coast anymore. Is why I'm trying to.
Yeah, they rehabbed that whole area. Last time I was down there, it was all covered with scaffolding. So I'm not sure what they're called now. Like the Imperial Palace is now called the Cube or something like that now. It's some weird name.
The Lynx, yeah.
Oh, Link, thank you.
And then, but that's where you're talking about, that little, where the Margaritaville place was?
South of that, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, on the way down towards Margaritaville. I don't remember if it was before it or after it.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about now, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a side street, and it was you didn't cross the street. It was on the same side you are, and you turned right and went down there and played. And their machines are usually pretty loose too. They were a lot of fun.
You're talking past that weird Italian restaurant that was in the middle of nowhere, like a little tiny Italian restaurant in the middle of all these high rises.
You got me on that one.
I think so. In fact, we were there one year and they tore down that building. So we were talking about the same building. We got to stand basically, like a quarter of a block away. They made a big thing about it all weekend or all week. Back then, SHOT Show used to go open weekend sometimes. It would be like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So they tore it down like on a Tuesday or something. And we were staying at a timeshare right down the street. So we just got up ass early and walked over there and watched them destroy a building with the bomb.
Oh, you got to watch them demo the thing, huh? Cool.
Super cool. And we were really close. Like, I can't, well, they have to do it like that, I guess. They couldn't really clear too much. So anyway, yeah, it was pretty awesome. Have you been to Bally's buffet, breakfast buffet?
I don't think so.
It's way the hell back in Bally's, but it's one of those fancy ones. That's why I wondered if you'd been. It's like super fancy. Like I go with my parents. I think.
Oh no. We only go to the real cheap ass places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about cheap.
I'm all about the value, baby. I mean,
Well, that's what I
Denny's
was-
is right up the road from the link, so you can't go wrong. Denny's and McDonald's.
Yeah, for 4 of the nights, extra nights that I'm there, I'm staying for like $19 a night.
There you go.
So we didn't have any other people from Vegas jump in, so I don't want to monopolize it too much. But yeah, Vegas is fun. We're talking about SHOT quite a bit now, but it is a fun town. You don't really have any opportunity unless you're just blowing stuff off to party in Vegas or anything. But it is a fun town to just go play in. So we were chatting, I guess, originally about what we're going to do in our airplane. Pink, where are we taking our 727?
We're gonna go to the South Pacific. We're gonna rent an island.
Oh,
PBR
There's an
said
idea.
something very similar to that yesterday.
See, I had thrown a link in there earlier. I don't know if it's still there or not.
About doing a World War II, some of the various islands where they were major battles.
I was just saying, party all week, and we can shoot the guns all week because it's a private island.
yeah, PBR wanted to do something similar, except visit all the historic battle sites.
Right there.
Partying and shooting can be part of that as well.
See, we can pick our own island. We can choose between any island we want to rent.
Well, it's got to be big enough to land the plane on.
No, it's an aircraft carrier, remember?
7 is
Chappa. Call it Chappa.
and we went to Easter Island. I don't think there's airport on Easter Island, right? But I think that's further than 3,000 miles. That's on the other side of the equator. So it might take a couple
So
of
like Peru or something?
on the other side. It's out in the ocean. It's up north, I think, when you look at it. It always seems like it's real far south, but it's closer to the humpy part of South America there. But yeah, I think it would take a while. But you'd have to boat over to it. I don't think you fly out to Easter Island. I don't know if it'd be any fun. Easter Island's interesting, but it's basically barren. Everybody who lived there, ate everything that was there. So it's just a big kind of, desert island.
Ironically enough, it was a completely forested group of islands that they completely deforested.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a neat story. I've seen some neat stuff about Easter Island.
So we can
Oh, I
get
was
this.
close. It is off the coast of Peru and Chile.
We can get this one. We can do some like paintball type games on the mountains.
Dude, Dano, where did you post that thing about the girls that went to some island?
Maybe.
You talking about something like that, Pink, where you just get dropped off with whatever survival kit?
Yeah, with Bear Grylls.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
All expenses,
I'm not going there without tools. Fuck that.
all expenses paid to fly down to some beautiful island that we own, and then you're gonna go out there with like a knife and some
Well, see, we could. I don't know if you guys have you guys heard of the game PUBG?
No.
Yeah, we know Flippy.
Yeah. They fly, take a plane over the island and drop like 100 players into it. And all through the island, you have to pick up guns and equipment and everything else.
You kill each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. No, I like that guy from Virgin. He's got an island someplace where he owns the whole island, right? And it's got some house on it, and that's it. So he just hangs out in his house, and he has the whole island to fly around.
And occasionally he goes into outer space.
Am I thinking of the right guy? He doesn't go into space, does he?
Yeah, he's on Virgin Islands. Yeah, that's the guy.
Okay.
He's the British guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
didn't he go to the space station once or
Richard
something?
Branson. Richard Branson is his name, isn't it?
I didn't
Oh,
know.
SpaceX.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're rambling on all kinds of subjects now. So it's been episode 727. What else do we got out here?
We never ramble.
Oh, we've been rambling, and I'm locked on pink. All right. So chatted a bit, and like I say, I think we had a pretty good chat with Kevin earlier. I think Kevin's got some interesting stuff to say, and he had a chance to elaborate on his story and how he evolved into the projects he's doing, which I consider to be super valid. And he's only got like 36 people on Patreon. That's kind of weak. So I encourage you to check out his stuff. I'm going to grab his Patreon thing over here, throw it out there for anybody that's interested in being part of actual legit.
I wish he would at least make available, and I don't want to do it for him, his PayPal contacts, because then as a friend you can get 100% of your money to support him rather than just a portion of it.
And that's valid. And I don't know what it is either.
I do.
Oh, okay. But the Patreon, in addition to just getting the funding to someone, it gives them a participation on a platform that I consider to be a potential, foundation for a lot of the stuff that people are doing. And there's people out there that are putting a lot of money into projects, so making them aware by giving his presence on that platform some action is useful.
I think for smaller dollar amounts, it can very much be about branding and getting the message out. But if you're going to put more than just a couple of bucks down, you want it to go as far as you can.
No, that's true. No, I don't disagree. I mean, it's all about getting the money and making it effective, and paying for process or infrastructure isn't necessary all the time. But again, that participation in that kind of crowd thing is super valid. So if you're going to give somebody $60, giving them $5 a month is, well, I don't know. That would be a subject for a whole other discussion. Hopefully Clover, I don't know, he's not listening tonight. We'll start doing Thursday shows again, because as much as I do the 2A workshops, people jump in and we talk 2A, but not very much workshop stuff. And I fiend for that stuff. I like talking nuts and bolts and getting people, aware of all the different ways and strategies of doing stuff, because I like figuring out new people, the new strategies people are doing.
I'm just very much interested in getting biggest bang for the buck where possible.
I hear you. That's true. So let's see. Today's Wednesday. It's not Free Patch Friday, but I do have a bunch of stuff going on over at the store. I don't know. I'm in a weird spot. I'm not anywhere near getting to SHOT Show, so I don't want to lead people on, but I'll never get there if I don't put some stuff on the store. So I did dig around and found some of the Every Second Matters stuff from back in the day that Jimmy and Bob and I had been taking to gun shows. So I posted all that stuff up there as packages, obviously for an exaggerated price, try to get some funds up, and then reposted some the Ranger Eyes. So the Gun Channel's Ranger Eyes, that's the end of them. There'll be no more of those. And then I put up the Vegas deck of cards. So the deal there is the $25, $10 of it goes towards the dinner at SHOT Show. So even if I don't get to go, whatever you throw into the Vegas deck of cards will end up feeding the guys that do show up, guys and gals that show up for whatever they meet up at SHOT Show. So I appreciate anybody who wants to participate with that, but I'm not here to milk everybody. And the idea would be if a whole bunch of people threw a buck at me, it'd be great. I'd have $160,000 a month. So a continued effort towards getting a couple of bucks from more people out there. But anybody that wants to, there's some stuff on the store. All right, so nobody in here. Well, no, Carrie's got a show coming up Friday. Anybody's got anything coming up tomorrow? Do I have to do a Yankee show tomorrow? I think a Yankee show tomorrow.
I actually have a question for Gary. I know you just started the show, but is there do you do like part gun news and then part gun stuff, or what's kind of like the setup of your show?
Well, I mean, it's work in progress, but this last week, what we did is the first hour or so, I had about 3 Second Amendment topics, news stories that I picked out, and we discussed those and kind of went over them. Then we had a small giveaway right in the middle of it, and then the last few minutes was just pretty much free discussion. So a little bit of everything. But I did want to have some gun related, Second Amendment topics or news stories that we could discuss. So it wasn't just kind of a lobby. It was actually, there was purpose to it, but there's fun time in it too.
Yeah, I like that idea where it's a little bit of everything, so somebody can catch it and they're at least not totally out of touch with things that might be happening that might be important.
Right, because I think we need to take a little bit of time to discuss news of the day and stuff like that. And I'm trying to pick things that not being discussed by everybody else. I mean, it's virtually impossible, but you could try,
Will the wall be done? When will government start working again?
Thanks, Nice Strike. I don't talk about it. Ghost mentions it. I think other people do too. But if you put that little @ sign on the stupid YouTube side, then it highlights here. So if you, when you're seeing the chat, like Night Strike put the little @ sign in Daily Gun Show, and then it highlights for me there. So I might have missed that. But anyway, Night Strike was saying we need to do another website-oriented Minuteman. I agree 100%. So whenever you've got time, man, let me know, and I'll make time. Otherwise, I'll be doing a workshop on Saturday, and I'll be sure to include you when I send out the invites by email. But if you see me on gun channels, jump in. But I agree. It's time to do one of those. I know a couple of people have talked about having interest. I know Gary's running his. And wait, are you using Wix?
No.
WordPress?
No, just Google Pages.
I didn't see that comment. I wouldn't ask you publicly. Oh my goodness.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Oh. So yeah, Nice Strike. We got a lot of work to do. So yeah, well, that hurts. I think I don't know if I'm gonna make it through tonight. We'll definitely do that. Like I say, Saturday would be great. Otherwise, if you got time to do it before then, we'll make time, because that's super critical. I didn't realize, but I knew that somebody was using Wix out there. And there's definitely stuff to talk about with that. I don't want to get into it at the end of the show. Thanks everybody for watching, and go check out the conversation with Kevin. Best 2 hours I've done in this whole year, and maybe even.
And what channel was that on?
The big channel.
Okay, Gun Websites channel.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.